All right, welcome. It's time for us to talk sports on Global Television. Big stories are making the rounds, and last night was amazing. The women from Nigeria, from the African continent, did us proud as they played back-to-back, gave it to the Americans as hard as they could. Yes, talking about the Tigress in yesterday's matchup in the quarterfinals of the Olympics. That's where we're going to be starting on today's edition of the program, Talk Sports. My name is Anthony Momodu, the King of Sport. And on today's edition, we'll be having the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation in the person of Azania Omo Agege, join us live in the studios as we look at what played out in the Olympics. So we'll be talking to the match reader for Plateau United, talking about a club right here in Nigeria as they prepare for the new season, talking about the 2024-2025 football season. So we've got a lot packed in just for you with all the big stories making the rounds. But let's begin where it's sweetest, where Nigeria's senior women's basketball team, you call them the Tigress, 9 times African champions, crashed out of the 2024 Olympic Games after losing 88-74 to the United States of America in the quarterfinals of the women's basketball event. On the title defense, Nigeria bowed out of the competition as basketball heroes, having exceeded expectations by making Wednesday quarterfinals, while it was business as usual for the United States of America as they continue to bear down on yet another successful time in the last 16. And the other African team has achieved what the Nigerians were hoping to book a place in the semi-finals of the competition at the expense of the Americans. Clearly unafraid of the Americans who seek an unprecedented 8 straight gold medal. Reina Wakama's side started on a bright note. The Americans won the opening tip at the Agile Wilson, getting the Americans on board with an early layup. Meanwhile, the Tigress knew it would take a tenant effort to topple the U.S. team that boasts of 8 players who were at one point or the overall pick in the WNBA draft, but they were not ready to back down, and they immediately leveled their things up. And so we're saying big congratulations to the Tigress as they did Nigeria proud last night, even though they did lose, but we were super proud of them achieving something none other African team or country has ever done, getting to the quarterfinals of the Olympics. Let's go on with still more stories concerning the Olympics as Nigeria will begin campaigning in the 4x100 meters relays of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games today, having been drawn in the heat 1 and 2 of the men's and women's categories, with the latter having seemingly a more difficult route to the final. The Nigerian men's team, comprising Favour Ashe, Godson Ogenabrume, and Kai Shola Ajayi. Then we've got Odedi Onwuzirike making the team alongside Alaba Akintola. Will be running in lane 2 against the Netherlands. We also have South Africa in lane 4 and Great Britain in lane 5, the US in lane 6 and Japan in lane 7. Italy is in lane 8 and Australia in lane 9. Just to let you know that the women's team of Favour Ofili, team, God bless, Rosemary Chukuma, Olayinka, Olajide, and Justina Ayapo Benyan will fancy their chances to progress to the next stage, running in lane 4 against Trinidad and Tobago, who are in lane 2, Spain in lane 3, and the Netherlands in lane 5, while France is in lane 6, Great Britain in lane 7, likewise Canada in lane 8 and Jamaica in lane 9. While the Nigerian men have an outside chance of reaching the podium, the women are more likely to increase the country's medal haul in the Olympics relay event, with Udo Obong, who anchored the country to gold in the men's 4x400 meters at Sydney 2000 and the bronze in Athens 2004, tipping them to shine. All right, so that's for the athletics. Let's talk about one woman. Yes, her name is Tobi Amosun. She says this year is her year. So let's let you know that women's 100 meters hurdles world record holder in Tobi Amosun is confident of securing a medal in the event at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris after failing to do so in previous two editions in 2016 and in 2020 in Rio, Tokyo. And we know that the 27-year-old made this mission statement after she qualified for the semi-finals, breaking little sweat as she ran 12.49 seconds to beat USA's Alicia Johnson, who was second in 12.61 seconds, and Jeanette Brown in third in 12.84 seconds. Just to let you know that Amosu was in high spirit after perfectly exciting her first round race, and it shows you that Amosu is ready to go. All right, we got some stories concerning our Nigerian wrestlers at the Olympics who didn't do so well, and Igali is in the news this morning. Yes, Igali is the man talking this morning as the man Igali president. Yes, we got the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation is talking this morning on Talk Sport as regards what played out why Blessing Oborodudu couldn't do well. Let's just let you know that president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, says Blessing Oborodudu wrestled with injury at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, and also that in a long tribute to the 35-year-old who missed out on the bronze medal to Japan's Nonaka Ozaki in the women's freestyle 68 kilograms. Igali explained how the Tokyo 2020 silver medalist defied the instruction of doctors who certified her unfit to compete. Oborodudu was one of Nigeria's medal prospects in Paris, being expected to better her performance at the last edition in Tokyo, but the world number 2 was a shadow of herself, lending credence to Igali's claim of her nursing and injury. But it just tells you how determined Blessing Oborodudu was. She just wanted to compete and bring honors to Nigeria, but the fact that she was injured, you couldn't beat injury. So that's what played out. All right, let's give you one more story. And I did tell you that hopefully in the course of the program, we'll be joined by the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation in the person of Azania Omoagege, who will be giving us a more clear picture to what happened to Nigerian boxers at the Olympics and what we should be expecting when formally he takes the reign of the Nigerian Boxing Federation. All right, just to give you more stories making the rounds, let's let you know that Nigeria's Christiana Ogunsoya crashed out of the women's freestyle 53-kilogram wrestling event at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris on Wednesday. Ogunsoya lost 1-3 to Mongolia's Kuland Batayan in the round of 16 bout at the Chadma Arena on Wednesday. The 22-year-old struggled to gain momentum, ultimately failing to her Mongolian opponent in the first period. This setback marks Nigeria's second loss in the wrestling event following Blessing Oborodudu's earlier loss. Oborodudu had reached the semi-finals but failed to secure a medal and also losing in the bronze medal match on Tuesday. However, Ogunsoya did not have such a luxury as she exited the campaign in the quarterfinals. Ogunsoya's early exit raises concerns for Nigeria's wrestling team, which faces an uphill battle in the remainder of the competition. Already, we've got the Wrestling Federation president in person of Dana Igali telling us that Blessing Oborodudu did suffer injury before going for the tournament, and that's why we're seeing what's said. All right, I will go for a quick break. When we return from the break, I'll be introducing my guests. I will still have other big stories making the rounds as Rodri of Manchester City and Morata handed bans by UEFA for their actions during the Euro 2024 in Germany. These and other big stories we'll be sharing with you on today's edition. And don't forget, we'll be talking to Plateau United match reader in the person of coach Noel, who will be telling us how well Plateau United is getting set for the 2024-2025 season. All these after this break. Stay with us.
Martin squares it into the back.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
That goal! Beautiful work from the wingers.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here. In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Hello, children. Gather around, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and it repeats every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Talk Sport on Global Television, and I did promise you we'll get the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation in the person of Azania Omagege in the live studios, and oh boy, I'm guarding myself against some uppercuts and knockout punches. Nice to have you in the studio.
Yeah, how are you doing? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. All right, let's look at the Olympics. Yes, you did give us some reasons why Nigerian Jalista didn't do so well at the Olympics, but also there's some other issues playing out, which has to do with the transgender issues about the Chinese boxer and also the Algerian boxer who are considered males because of their body structure, and their opponents did cry foul every time they did beat them or defeat them because of how the heavy punches they did suffer. First of all, let's just look at the boxing at this Olympics. Would you say the standard as high as it was in Atlanta and in Tokyo?
Anyway, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah. Like you said, my name is Azania Omar Gege. I'm the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation. In comparison to the last competitions we've been participating in, like you're now saying about Atlanta and Tokyo, Nigeria ever since have been having very good performances in all the competitions we've been to, like the All African Games, the Commonwealth Games, and the rest. Like, I want to also let you know that we have very, very good boxers. So the boxers are not the issue here. It's just the management. That's where we have a problem. In this particular one for the Olympics in Paris, though we have our internal squabbles in the Nigerian Boxing Federation, and that will be resolved shortly, I could tell you that. But we have some coaching errors here that really needs to be addressed. The boxers themselves, like I told you, are very good. Went to Ghana. They came back with 5 medals, which was very impressive and a very good outing. But right now, the coaching, the preparation is where we really have problems. And that's what brought this setback in boxing that we're seeing right now.
Okay, you talked about coaching, that there's a specific coach, Coach Tony, who was supposed to have led the team, who was there from the process of the training camp until it was time to leave for Paris. Was it right to drop such a coach who knew the boxers very well, who had been working with the boxers, and take someone else?
Well, Coach Tony has been our national coach for a while now. He's been there, and most of the boxers, all these things I'm telling you about the boxers coming back with medals, all thanks to Coach Tony. Now, Coach Tony cannot just be the only coach when they're coaching boxers for international competitions. Sure. You definitely have other coaches that will join him. So with him, when he came to the Olympics, it was Coach Tony, Coach Adura Olaniye, and Coach Segun Ajose. I'm sure you know Coach Ajose.
Yes,
Ajose is one of our boxing champions.
In
very
the past,
well. He's very intelligent, and he knows everything about coaching, if you ask me. He has his coaching certificates and all. Now, when it comes to coaching, there are standards, and then coaches are rated by stars. You have a 1-star coach, 2 stars, and 3 stars. Nigeria only has about 1 or 2 3-star coaches, and one of them happens to be Coach Tony. When it comes to competitions of this nature, you have the highest star coach that usually goes, right? So now, when they were in camp, Adura, Segun Ajose is also a coach. I think he's 1-star rated or 2-star rated, I think. Coach Adura, I don't know. For me, I have not seen his coaching certificate.
Okay.
Right. Secondly, I don't know who employed him as a coach. I know a few years ago when we were on the board, at that time I was a board member, and he came before us that he wanted to be a coach, but when we found out he wasn't really a coach himself, we decided to add him to the coaching team as a trainer. Okay, and since then, I don't know if he's gone for any coaching courses or if he's received any coaching certificates or anything. So for a competition of this magnitude, I don't see how Coach Adura will be the one leading the national team.
Ahead of
Coach Tony, who's a 3-star rated coach. 3-star. Segun Ajose, how
like a rookie leading the experience?
Rookie, not like a rookie. He doesn't have a coaching school. I don't know of any boxer he has coached. You know, all I know is that he lives in America, and he likes coaching. He has the passion for it. Don't get me wrong. Adura loves boxing. You know, but we're talking about serious issues here. You understand? And also, I find it very hard to explain this. Adura is also a board member of the Nigerian Boxing Federation. So how can a board member now be in national team coach? There is serious conflict of interest.
Well said. Well said.
Who employed him? Where is his employment letter? Serious issues here, and it has to be really nipped in the bud.
Very sad story, but let's move on to the next talking point as we look at boxing. Gender-raw boxer Lin Yu Ting has plunged into a second ring controversy on Wednesday night after he defeated Olympic opponent made the X sign to question her sex, which has been under intense scrutiny in Paris. You think easily beat Turkey's Ezra Yildiz, but she made the X sign with her index fingers, just as the Taiwan boxer's Bulgarian opponent had done in the previous bout. I know you're well informed when it comes to this transgender, this sex of a boxer, plays out. I hope my producer can play one of the videos we have as regards this boxing bout. And all right, hopefully it's in my producer's WhatsApp. I hope you can get it and play it for us. But let's talk about this. It's been a big issue in Paris. How big is this issue? And is it unfair when we have female boxers that have hormones or their sex is in question?
First of all, it's a very big issue, like you rightly said. And to me, in my opinion, it is very unfair. Now, I was the past interim president of the African Boxing Confederation, and this issue actually came up also in Senegal when we went for the Olympic qualifiers. Imam Khalif, the boxer concerned from Algeria, is a friend of mine. I know her very well. She's a very nice person, very friendly and the rest. But now, you see, the problem we're having right now is between the International Boxing Association, which is IBA, which I belong to, and there's the IOC, International Olympic Committee. They are having serious issues relating to the governance of boxing internationally, right? The IOC got IBA. IBA has been in charge of boxing for years under the IOC when it comes to Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, and the rest. And there are standards that are set for boxers. Okay. In relations to Imam Khalif from Algeria, she's been banned twice by IBA for participating in national competitions. Even one competition she went for, she was banned. And she never protested. You understand? The reason being is this. Now, we're males and they are females, right? When it comes to the chromosomes of our body, a female is XX, while the male is XY. Okay? Now, on Imam Khalif, who's a female, she has...
That's the Algerian now.
The Algerian girl now. She has XY, which is a female, which is a male symptom of the chromosomes. You understand? So when IBA did a test, that's the IBA, International Boxing Association, when they did a test, they found that, well, she has the chromosomes of a male. And since that is there, she cannot fight a female. That's when they banned her. Now, the IOC in turn is saying, no, you can't do that. This girl was born a woman. She has a woman's name. On her passport, she's a woman. So you have to allow her, which I don't agree with. You understand? Just because the passport or the birth certificate says that, the futures of her structure and the chromosomes is reading male. Now, let me take you back to Semenya or something.
Yeah, South Africa, the sprinter.
The sprinter. This also applied to her under the IOC. And when they found out that she was XY, they banned her, they stopped her. So why will you stop Semenya, but you cannot stop Khalif? Why? What's the reason? These are two, they have to come up, they're very conflicting decisions. You understand? So they have to come out and say, listen, then what happened actually? IOC now, because it was a very contentious issue. So IOC now left this to each sporting federations to handle the matter. And IBA has been the one in charge of boxing, where they have their own rules. I could assure you that if this was an IB, if IB were still in charge of these Olympics, Khalif would not be fighting because they already have a test on her. And they even did a press conference regarding this issue a few days ago. So the IOC has to come out plainly and come up with a...
The IOC president, Bach, did come out to say this boxing controversy is more like politically motivated. Is he being correct? Or do you think it's more like the LGBTQ community that are pushing this to the fore?
Personally, I want to be honest with you, I don't know anything about that. I know there's politics involved in everything here. Like now, take for example, even if he's referring to this particular one being politically motivated, our own case with the IBA and IOC is also politically motivated. We have a president by the name of Omar Kremlev, who is actually the president of the IBA, International Boxing Association, who went for an election in Turkey and he won clean. Ever since he won, the IOC doesn't want to accept him. They've been fighting him, talking about IOC and governance. There has been reports that has cleared the IBA on this issue of governance. And also coaching and refereeing. You understand? And any time they present the report to the IOC, Thomas Bach especially doesn't want to hear it. You understand? I've actually called for a dialogue between at least these two people meeting so we could talk, because whatever is happening right now is hurting boxing, not just boxing, but African boxing. Now, take for example now, you're talking about being fair here. Look at the IOC now. The slots that were given to Africa for the Olympics, it's very small. We have about, over 10 boxing weight categories. You understand? But when it comes to the Olympics, the IOC selects particular boxing categories to go for Olympics.
Why is that? Is it that we're not strong in these other categories?
We are strong in all categories. In that case, you're discriminating against the other weight categories. What are you trying to do? So if a boxer, maybe you want him to go to a certain weight now, and his weight is not included amongst those going to the Olympics, what do you want him to do? Put on weight to meet that weight category, or reduce weight to meet the other weight category? What if he kills himself trying to do this? What happens? There's strictly discrimination there. I think the IOC should really look into it because it's hurting, their policies are hurting African boxing.
All right, let's look at the issue of doping, which is another aspect, and technicalities which we see like Nigerian athlete, aside even the world of boxing, but majorly we are focused on boxing, technicalities, new forms of scoring points and all that. How well would you describe Nigerian boxers as in being up to date, and the coaches especially in terms of up-to-date training?
One thing I have to give props to and credit to the IBA, they always do coaching courses, whereby like maybe twice in a year, they always have coaching courses where all African, like I can only speak for the AFBC under the leadership right now of President Eliasu, who's doing a great job. You see, so there are many coaching courses that are usually held. And that definitely brings our coaches and referees up to date about what the competitions are about and everything. So in terms of coaching aspect, the rules and everything, our coaches are up to date on that. Boxers, we have the best boxers you could think of in Africa. In the Olympics itself, we brought you 6 medals before, out of the 27 medals Nigeria has. Besides athletics and the other, well, boxing is ranked number 3. With football far back, and when it comes to funding, I think they should put more money into in boxing itself. But we have very good boxers. And what I have done too during my tenure as the vice president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, I actually brought boxing into the university for Nuga Games for the first time ever. You understand? So right now,
how would you describe this the success story in terms of getting young pugilists from the universities? Was it successful?
Very, very successful. Because you see, the impression about boxing out there is that boxers are thugs, from
true,
the streets, you understand? So I wanted to make a difference. And I have to tell you this too. Not all boxers will make it. You understand? So if you dedicate all your life into boxing, and Olympics is their dream, and what if they can't make the Olympics? What if they don't succeed in what do they fall back to? So we're encouraging them to maybe take coaching trainings and referee courses. So even if they can't box, they could always end up being referees or coaches, and also have an education. So when it came to that education part, I was very concerned about that. And I approached the Vice Chancellor's committee, where we went and did a presentation by one of our very able, experienced boxing administrator by the name of Mr. Lagoda. Lagoda went did the presentation to the University Vice Chancellor's committees, and they saw reasons why they should at least bring boxing into the university. In the university, they have combat sports, but no boxing. Why no boxing? So when we made the presentation, they actually were very happy, and they bought into it, and they said, okay, let's give it a trial. So there was a test run in the last Nuga Games in Lagos, and they were very surprised. If I tell you this, you won't believe, about 10 universities registered for boxing. Unilag alone has about 60, 70 boxers. So when they leave them, now they're all graduates. So even if they don't end up boxing in their life, they have a degree.
Sure.
You see, so that's just to encourage them to come up and from the grassroots.
All right, in case you're just joining us, we're talking sport on Global Television, and I have the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, in the person of Azania Omoagege, joining us in the studios, highlighting Nigeria's sport performance at the Olympics, what the future holds for Nigerian boxing, and other issues. We'll go for a very quick break. When we return, we'll look at other aspects of Nigerian boxing family, what needs to be done to get things better, and also we'll look ahead, hoping that he's going to be now the substantive president, and what Nigerian boxers across the grassroots level. And like he said, the universities have gotten their share. Let's see what would come for the grassroots level after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. We're still looking at the sport of boxing and what the future holds for us. We already know that the issues at the Olympic has to do with one of the boxers, Lin Yun-Ting, who is 28-year-old, and someone who has issues in terms of her sexes, and also including the Algerian boxer. All right, let's look at coming back to Nigeria, and with all this crisis, we know that in the next 2 months, the tenure of this board and this era will be over. What should we be expecting, and how key are you towards ensuring that this next board, you'll be able to get into it and lead Nigerian boxers and the boxing community to the next level?
Well, like you rightly said, usually all boards, not just the boxing federation, all boards are usually dissolved after the Olympics. So we'll wait and see. For the Nigerian Boxing Federation, to be very honest with you, it's not been a very good term. There's been in and out, just fights up and down, no. all these fights started. You know, this last board that came in, the current board right now, I was the vice president of the board, and I went international to join the African boxing body, where I went for an election. I wasn't appointed, and I ran to be one of the directors there, which I successfully won.
Congrats on that.
As we speak, I'm a director of the African Boxing Confederation. Then from there, I was elevated again to become the first vice president of the African Boxing Confederation. My board members voted for me too, and I was there. And for some reason too, God elevated me again, and I became interim president of the African Boxing Confederation. How
does your affiliation with these African boxing associations, being a director, how can you use that to reposition Nigerian boxing family and the pugilists? How are they likely to benefit, not just from the universities where you've done a great job already? We're looking at the grassroots, the primary, secondary schools, the need for more competitions.
You've asked me a very, very good question. When I was there in my position, I tried doing my best for Nigeria. I'm very close to my president, that's the president of the IBA, that's Omar Kremlev, and he actually wanted to do a lot for Nigeria, bringing gyms, encouraging competitions, bringing world competitions to Nigeria. If you go to Lagos right now and go to our gym, the stadium, it's an eyesore. This was a man that wanted to renovate the whole place. But when I assumed that position, my brother, to be very honest with you, things didn't sit down well with the board members on this side. I don't know, for some reason, you know, they said the prophet is never respected in his own home. Africa cherishes me. They love me and my contributions to boxing in Africa. But my own country, Nigeria, rather fighting me. You understand?
What did they think it was going to be a personal project? Didn't they see the vision, or what? Weren't you carrying them along, so to say?
The very good question. Like, there was a time my president wanted to visit Nigeria, and he told me he was coming, though, and that he would be making an official visit, and he was going to write to the federation. And I expressed this, whatever I told me, I now told my president then that CEO, president is coming to visit us. So the next thing was like, who are you for the president to tell you that he's coming? I said, well, I'm with him there. That's why he just, but he'll be writing an official letter. Guess what? That visit was blocked because it didn't come
through him.
Through him. So I was like, this is very petty.
But wasn't it supposed to be for national interest?
That's exactly what it was supposed to be. Then I'll tell you now where my own, I won't call it a mistake, but I'm just trying to do the right thing. Nigerian Boxing Federation has a constitution, and it's every 4 years. That is the term. And as a vice president and as a president, you cannot exceed 3 terms of 4 years. This last year marked the 13th year of my president in office.
13th?
13th, not 12. 13th year. So when the 12th year came, I approached some board members and said, listen, you know, tenure is up, you know. Guess what he told me? Don't even mention it. I said, it's not about me. This is for presidents and for future presidents. If this happens right now, somebody else will
repeat the
same. And just me even mentioning to my board members or president that tenure was up, that's the biggest mistake Azania committed. Then they were after my neck, my head, for even suggesting such a thing. So he refused to step down, and I reported the issue officially to the IBA, because we're bound by the IBA constitution. Our boxing constitution here is approved by the IBA, also with the sports ministry and the NOC, Nigerian Organizing Olympic Committee in Nigeria. Our constitution is there, and it's written in black and white.
Oh, did you get the support of the ministry and IOC, knowing that this is what the constitution says?
The IOC has nothing to do with this. I now wrote a letter to the IBA, and the IBA now wrote a letter to the president to please respond to see if his tenure
has elapsed.
He refused to
respond.
They wrote him another letter again, and he refused to respond. So he was now suspended, and they told him that, well, from looks of things and the evidence before them, it shows that his tenure
is
has
over.
expired. And in our constitution, they say once there's a vacancy and the tenure is over, the vice president
takes over.
And I happen to be the only one and only vice president. So I stepped in and I wrote a letter to the ministry that I've assumed office as the interim president, because I can't just come in as a president. It has to be interim when we go for a congress again to elect the president, because we have board members there who are also qualified to be a president. You understand? And that was my biggest mistake, my brother. So the day he received his suspension letter on the 10th of November last year, on the 10th of November, the suspended president now called for a board meeting. How can you call for a board meeting
when you've been suspended?
When you've been suspended. Call for a board meeting to suspend me for even, and you're laughing.
Very interesting.
That who gave me the right to write, but that was one of my offense. And secondly, that I'm using MBF letterhead to write letters. For God's sake, as a vice president, you mean as a vice president, I use my own letter in my own office as the vice president to write a letter? So those were the accusations, which were actually, to me, nothing. I didn't want to go to court to cause any problems. I just let it be. And I wrote to the ministry. Ministry actually opened up an investigation into it. I think they have a report on it already, which is with the sports minister, who's been a very nice person. He loves boxing. He just doesn't want to rock the boat. So we see where we are from now. But in 2 months' time, the Boxing Federation will be dissolved, or 3 months, will be dissolved, and there'll be a new board. And I hope and pray that able-minded people who are financially stable could come on for this new board where they could contribute their own quota instead of just relying on the government right now. Like there's a boxing promoter right now his company name is called Utateco. He's doing listen to this, he's doing a great job. He even has a Nigerian boxing league as we speak, encouraging boxers, paying boxers, even giving them cars when they win medals. Can I tell you something? The Federation is fighting him for even daring to do that.
This is very shocking and interesting at the same time. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, let's just get a slice of some boxing video. Then when we come back, we'll be wrapping up conversation with the interim president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, who, from all indices, has something amazing with Nigerian boxers across board. Let's just have a slide of the video. Deliver the goods, and so they technically, introduce the athlete, the boxers, to doping, or is the boxers themselves who go behind the back of the coaches to try to, get stimulants in order to get better performances?
It's a combination of both. You understand? All the time, most coaches, right? They want victory for sure.
Victory, true.
And they want to also help their boxers win. So sometimes they actually do that to encourage the boxers to take some supplements or something that they don't know if it's banned or not. You see, some of these boxers are naive too. They don't even know what they're taking. You understand? But my own thing is this.
But shouldn't that where the Nigerian Boxing Federation comes into place, where there should be this anti-doping unit of the federation that deals with such aspects, educating the boxers, the coaches on substances that shouldn't be taken and the consequences?
That is the job of the coach and the technical crew. This is what my problem is. You see, so these boxers now, They were taken from the streets, right, and brought into camp. When they brought them into camp, they were doped, and everything was okay. So now, please tell me, how come did they now turn positive in camp? There's a problem somewhere. They're out of the eyes of the world. They're in a private place, secured, secluded. Who gives them their food? Because for that doping, it has to be some sort of intake. It could be juice, it could be anything.
The meal, yeah.
It could be a meal. Like I was talking to one of the boxers. I said, listen, what happened? How did you dope positive? He said, Oga, I don't really know. But the food they gave me, I could not go to the toilet. Then he had to take codeine. This is him talking to me now.
Wow.
He had to take codeine to make him go use the restroom. First of all, who gave him the codeine? He's in camp. Was he allowed drugs with him? There's a camp commandant. The coaches there, let me ask you this. Take, for example, now, Nigeria national team, football, goes out to perform somewhere. And the players don't do well. Or one or two of the players were caught for doping. Who takes the blame?
The head coach.
Thank you. The head coach takes the blame, right? He's accountable. He's responsible
for the players.
For the players.
All right.
So now in this case now, we have three, not just one now. There were three boxers, but you've heard of two.
Two, yes.
Because they called them to come. Two boxers, for the first time now in Nigerian history, were caught for doping. And yet, the coach is distancing himself from them. How do you do that?
All right.
There has to be an investigation. A proper investigation. Not even at the ministry level. A proper investigation into this. Otherwise, we won't move forward.
All right, a very sad commentary, but we're hoping and praying to God and hoping that all factors would push positive for Azania Omagege to become the substantive president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation so that all the I's can be dotted and the T's are crossed so that Nigerian boxing can reach the levels it deserves to reach. That's how we're going to call it a wrap on today's edition of the program Talk Sport. I want to say thank you very much for joining me in the studio and also hoping and wishing you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much. I also want to tell you that Nigerian Boxing Federation on the board, we have capable hands. So it mustn't be me. Even if I'm interested, there are other people who are very capable of becoming president that can do very well.
All right.
I just hope and pray that the new board comes in with like minds where things could move forward.
All right, and so that's all for the good of Nigerian boxing. And I want to say a big thank you to his friend who is behind the camera to lend support to the interim president, making sure that his punches go the right direction. All right, my name is Anthony Momodu, the King of Sports, saying thank you for being part of Talk Sport on today's edition. Tomorrow promises to be a blast as we take a look at all that has happened in the course of the week and project to the future. Good morning.
Thank you.